Go. Everyone ready?
Always.
Something like that.
This is so rush. What is Holly? Holly? Is Dolly going to blow up or something?
Here we go. You ready?
Yep.
Action surge.
What? No!
Action surge. It's happening now.
What?
It really is. It's
Episode
happening
ended,
now.
baby.
What? What?
That's Trixie.
Right, all right. See you later.
Traps and tricks.
Bye.
I'm done. What did everybody think?
Well, I don't know what I thought. I don't know what happened at the end of the
I
episode.
haven't finished collating them.
What?
They're being processed.
Uh-oh.
How dare you?
Sorry.
How dare you?
Sorry.
I'm gonna get my dog.
I was having fun and you've taken it away from me.
And for the people listening for audio, Ben's just got to chase a small dog around the room.
We brought my dog.
You can come in for
Milton, what are your
Action
thoughts
surge.
on the episode?
Yeah, go on, Milton. You tell us.
What do you think, Milton?
Was it great?
Oh, Milton.
Was it wonderful?
Well, what was cute, but like for the last half an hour, he was just sitting there.
Yes, I think, they pick up on energy, don't they?
Yeah.
And when everyone gets a bit aggressive and gets a little bit, especially with me and you,
Yeah.
I think he picks up on it and is like,
Yeah, he does.
"Ooh, what's happening?"
Yeah.
So I've got some ground to make up with Ben's dog as a result of today's episode.
Yeah, now you're just a
He
bad
likes you
guy.
a lot, though.
Good.
He let you pick him up.
Yeah. Which was a thrill. Which genuinely was.
What an episode!
Oh,
yeah.
good. So well done. I thought that was so
Yes.
fun. I thought there was so much fun, like character stuff and all kinds of little bits and bobs that were unexpected in there.
Yeah, that was another good one of just lots of like good story stuff, but like so much humor and just
Yeah, it was fun.
Well, and also we're kind of so to go back to the beginning, we have all of our. Let me see, he said, consulting his notes. But we began in just like a party montage. We had
Dad dancing.
we had dad dancing. We had spectacular vomit.
Oh, yeah.
oh god.
Because
We had short-sheeted beds.
You had short-sheeted bed.
I don't understand what happened.
So short sheeting, I probably should have explained better, but
I think I got the. I've never heard the phrase, but I think I got the vibe.
Yeah, the short sheeting, it happens before someone gets into their bed, and what you do is I can't remember exactly how you do it, but you take the flat sheet and you fold it in such a way that when they get into it, they can't stick their feet down to the bottom of the bed because this sheet has been folded in such a way that it's short.
Right, okay.
So it's like halfway down the bed. So they try to get in the bed and they can't stick their
It's
feet
just
in the
really
bed.
uncomfortable, basically.
It's like so I never knew how to actually do it, but there's a thing called an apple pie bed, right? Did anyone else hear about this when they were younger? That there's like a thing you can do, which is like you can. Let me see if I've made this up. Yeah, a practice which, there we go, it's the same thing. A practice which, as a practical joke, has been made with one of the sheets folded back on itself so a person's legs cannot be stretched out. It's exactly the same thing, it's really just a different phrase for it. But we started with that, and we started with some alcohol, and we started with some alcoholism, and we started with the dangers about it. It was essentially a public service.
Yeah, it was.
That we did at the beginning.
It seemed really interesting. I think there were a couple of episodes which felt very serious. Everything felt very serious, and it was a lot of drama and a lot of things at stake. And I think by the fact that like the end of the last episode ended with us being a bit drunk, it was there was something a bit freer about it. And I think maybe because we didn't have an immediate thing that needed to be done under a time pressure, we all just went, well, let's have a play. And it felt like for the first hour anyway, and actually continued through the whole episode, was like great callbacks, really fun kind of remembering of things and just like building jokes on jokes on jokes, but kind of still maintaining the truth and the honesty of where we were going with the journey. Was really a fun thing to do, really.
It's a balance that I think is one of the things that you just naturally find, like, at a home table as well, is that I don't mean like disparity in a bad sense, but the expectations that we all individually bring to the table. Like, so my expectations for how I want you to receive my story that I've written, and your expectation for how you want your characters, who you're all like the leads, right? In your head, you're all like, I'm the main one. Like, to an extent, that's how you're thinking you're the only one that you're playing. Maybe that just reveals my ego.
the main character energy.
Yeah, main character energy. But, you know, like, and how do I give space to this person to do that? How do I respect that? How do I do that? And then you start to kind of, and there are moments when collectively and individually we like overshoot the runway one way or another. We lean into a character choice that is not useful to the rest of the party, or I build the stakes in an area, place where it's not really necessary, or we don't kind of improv in a really easy way. But I feel like the point we've got to now is that we can have moments of like silliness, and even the thing with Vim, for example. Like that Vim, like there are consequences enough in the world that there was a split among the party as to whether or not you should have gone back and tried to get Vim out. And that was a silly, ridiculous moment that came out of nowhere, that came out of a little bit of Ben and I being ridiculous back in episode 7, I think. But that this moment then has consequences in a way that still feels like comes out of a load of lightness, but also feels like it has some importance.
Yeah, that was an interesting moment as well, because the only people who knew about Vim were really me and Ben.
Yeah. And you split the party at the very beginning.
Yeah.
So immediately we had this thing of like, we suddenly had Kelnis and I being the only ones who were talking to the Council of Equals, which was really fun.
If I had gone in there, that would have been
Different thing.
Yeah, like no, I'm so glad I was like, good luck, guys.
What was really lovely as well is that feels like the sort of thing where if that was the first time you were ever meeting any of the council, it was contingent on me and on you guys to have less fun with it than we were able to have. But actually, these are desperate people trying to make really big decisions, and you've said you're going to do something for them, and even though you're not displaying competence in that moment, it's like Rashid will have spent the last day being like, they found me. Like, I don't know how they did it, but they found me. You know what I mean? And so the metaphor stuff was absolutely lovely, by the way. That was so lovely. So silly.
I had loads of things I wanted to say with the metaphors. I've still got
Keep your powder dry.
Yeah.
We got
Yeah. Let's keep this rolling.
Plenty of time. There's plenty of time.
But
I regret the fuck moment, though.
No, I don't regret it.
I don't regret it. It was like, oh, there was kind of, I don't know, it was one of those things. It just happened, and then I was like, oh man, I kind of ruined the moment with the letter. And
No, I thought it was funny because actually, again, this is a perfect example, I think, of what like clearly that letter means more to Endelian than the rest of the people at the table. I think that's fair to
Just
say.
a piece of paper and a bag full of stuff.
Yeah, a piece of paper and a bag full of stuff. And there's a version of that which is like immensely sober and kind of takes itself very seriously with the letter. And there is a moment where it's completely ridiculous, but I think it's an opportunity for that like lightness to come into like story and character and
also gave me almost a reason to keep probing at it, because to my mind, I'd literally just picked up the letter, been told it said that it was addressed to fuck, and I said fuck, and I got slapped for it, and I got it taken off me.
Yeah.
So in that moment, I'm going to be like, why'd you keep doing, what's going on here? What is this letter?
Yeah.
Why did it get so, it gave a reason.
You were really under the spotlight today as well, as Endelian, weren't you?
Yeah.
And I was surprised, for my part, that she didn't consider themselves, I'm surprised that Endelian, whether it's true or not, is maintaining the party line of like, we're not friends.
No.
But it felt like over the last particularly 3 or 4 episodes, that it had gone from a transactional, we just have to stay with each other relationship to, that's still the basis of it, but there's the beginnings of care for one another.
But I think friendship is just such a warm word.
Right.
But this isn't, nothing about this has been a particularly pleasant experience, right? We're in probably the worst situation I've ever been in my entire life. I want to just lay low and get the hell out of this.
Yeah.
And I'm almost at the end.
Yeah.
And instead I'm with a bunch of fuckwits. And it's just like, and I found myself in something. You've just found yourself in something so dangerous and you're like, it is, why me?
Yeah.
And, you're not looking for friends.
Yeah.
I'm not out to make friends. I just want to have a bunch of people that will get through this and will have each other's backs to the point. And there is still so much that I don't trust. You still had a meeting with the Spider Prince, and you can't make me feel like anything good's going to come of that. But if we're together, the not good that's going to come of that, we're in the splash zone.
Yeah. I love how you're still holding out. It's quite fun. It's really fun because I don't think you've had that moment yet where you feel like trust is needed. And also, I felt like I was arguing with those types of people who are too well educated for their own good, where it's always kind of linguistic specifics that you're arguing. Because we weren't arguing. We were arguing over the nature of friendship as opposed to the fact that the baseline we're friends. I think, we would probably come to the same agreement about what we are to each other, but you were going to go, no, technically we're not. And clearly...
We're colleagues.
Yeah.
Colleagues who I'm who I have more vested interest on a practical level keeping alive, and who maybe there is some beginnings of an emotional connection, but to be honest, we're definitely not friends.
Yeah.
That's where you're kind of at with it.
Yeah, like if we're in this together, like again, she's not a total bitch, not totally devoid of wanting to have fun, and the whole point of, the web was to go and have a life.
Yeah.
So you do want to enjoy the life that is out there.
Yeah.
So it's not devoid of having fun moments and
like
having
the
a drink
fade
and
stuff. All the fade stuff.
Yeah, the
Like-
fade
Fade
stuff.
stuff.
The fade stuff is
putting,
kind.
I know you want to sleep under you like to sleep in a
Yeah.
little den. First thing, cape off. I'll make you a little den. I'll go to bed. Not devoid of feeling. It's just whether or not in those moments I think you're worthy of it.
But then we had this moment, and we're jumping around all over the place. But
And we
had-
do this every action.
Yeah,
set.
but we had this moment then where you kind of had these, and it actually, I hadn't planned it like this at all. To me, this was a session in which I was like, they're going to Mouse. I want the journey to feel like it has a story to it. And like through a series of interactions, we can understand more what they're walking into. For you to be able to gather information, for you to be able to see the potential fallout of what happens should you fail, for you to be like reminded of where you grew up and where you're from in a kind of warm way rather than in just a kind of austere, it's about some rich family who are trying to keep control of their castle. But what it actually became was a series of opportunities for you guys to do actions, not words, with each other, which is, if we're doing like, love languages, if we want to get into that, Endelians are like acts of service. I don't really care what you tell me, I care what you do. So if you, for example, give a necklace to a child or give the keys to Yesko's, that's a fucking great.
Yeah.
I love
Great,
that.
really
And
good.
it's also such a beautifully satisfying place for Radiant to have arrived at. Effectively at the end of our Kickstarter, because this is the last
Yeah.
Kickstarter. We'll talk about that more, I'm sure. But for it to have had that growth, and for Endelian having said to you all, I don't care what you say, to then have 3 days of you all doing things and acting in like for example with Dolly being like, don't take anything from the cart. That it was you, wasn't it? Who said like take nothing from the cart as soon as you saw that there was a family whose possessions that was, and you were just being genuinely altruistic. You've got nothing to gain from any of this. There is no point. There isn't like. It's not. There's nothing that that's going to be locked. You're going to be locked out of if you don't help these people. You just help them because.
Well, I thought it was really interesting why we did that, and I don't. We didn't go and help Vim.
No.
But for some reason we wanted to help the people of Mouse, and maybe because there's just something unjust about the nature of why.
Painting a picture of desperate people
Yeah.
that we're like coming into contact with, and we're like, we feel compelled to help people that we see are being displaced, being like, are in a desperate situation, and we know that you have an emotional connection to that as well.
Yeah. Small permissions as well. We didn't do much. Like we didn't go out of our way to do anything. It makes a huge difference to these people.
Fix the wheel.
Gave someone a key, gave someone some instructions.
It didn't even occur to me you'd fix the wheel. Oh, I can properly let you behind the DM screen.
Oh, yes.
The family there wasn't going to be a family there, and then you rolled a nat 20 on a perception check. And actually, in the moment, I'm like, that's so much more interesting if the family are there.
Could have had all of the jewelry.
You could have had all the jewelry. It was actually.
Honey, I'll get you jewelry.
It was originally.
She's younger.
It was originally put there. So the things that I originally had on this journey, I was like, I wanted to have a combat or an opportunity for combat. I wasn't interested in telling like a horrible violence to refugees story, so it had to be more like about coercion rather than about anything like that, and extortion rather than just horrible, ugly violence. And then the tavern and Paddy came really late. I think I did that yesterday.
Wow.
And that's my friend Paddy, who's like one of my loveliest friends in the world. Who's
Stop flexing. You've got other friends.
well, in fact, I used to listen to. He had a D&D podcast for a while that you can go back and listen to called Pod Shambles, or it's just a podcast in general. But I believe their D&D podcast was Pod Shambles. But he's really great. He's really cool. And Paddy's the kind of person who, when I'm around him, I'm just an awful lot happier. And so I was like, why not just put a genuinely good, like among the misery, just put a genuinely really good person. And then I knew I wanted some actual way for you to just essentially get more money. So originally the cart was just there for you to be able to go, am I going to, am I going to take these things knowing that they did mean something to someone, which I think some of you were heading that way anyway, of being like, oh, these are people's things. But then to also be like, it tells an abandoned cart with a broken wheel and family heirlooms and like paintings of beloved deceased relatives tells a story of desperation without me needing to do anything with it.
Yeah.
But then as soon as you rolled that thing, I dealt with the investigation stuff first. I was reading stuff out and was trying to figure out what I was going to do with your Nat 20. And I was like, actually, it's so much better. And so it never occurred to me that you'd try and fix a cartwheel. But of course you could try and fix a cartwheel. I was really surprised that you did, actually. I thought you were going to have this desire to just push and push and push and get there as quickly as possible.
There was actually the desire to do that, but then I was like, you want people to be safe. And I sort of believe that, like, you know, the Grenweird brothers, they're rich, they're fine, but it's the people of Mouse who are the ones who are suffering the most. So you should stop and help them.
Yeah.
Like, that's how you would give back to Mouse.
Yeah.
So if you genuinely want to protect it and its people, you would help them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're helping people who are, in theory, hopefully, already safe for now.
Yeah.
And if they're even safer, they're rich and powerful.
Yeah, totally.
I really loved Kelnis teaching everyone to spin.
Oh my God,
So
that happened. I love that
meditation of
too.
It was really fun.
Yeah, it just felt like the right thing to do. It felt like we were having this really intense conversation, and it was kind of, not going great. And I just felt like we needed something to. I don't know. It was an instinct, and then I loved what I loved that happened was that everybody got into it, because I thought at least one or two of you would just go, fuck that, I'm not gonna do that. and then everybody got into it, and then some people improved.
Well, I love that Radian literally, he basically got more in a Zen state by getting more angry, more frustrated. So he basically got better by getting annoyed, and in that annoyance kind of found the flow of it.
We've spoken about this a lot, about like people who just don't want to learn, but they just want to be good at stuff. And I think Radian's a person who just wants to be good at stuff, because when he woke up and didn't know who he was just good at some stuff, and probably hasn't in his life experience, having forgotten most of who he is, understood the process of learning. So the frustration of not being instantly good at stuff is annoying, especially when he sees two people who are instantly good at it, and then another person who becomes excellent straight after. It's so frustrating for him, because he doesn't have those experiences to fall back on of learning, because he just knows stuff and he doesn't really know how to kind of learn. Ironically, for a wizard that does things, but those things are natural. But those things again are inherent within the nature of who he is as a person. Like those things come very easily to him; other things don't. But I really liked it. It became a little bit better, but it still wasn't good enough. Yeah, still kind of like frustrated that everyone else is a little bit better than him.
Yeah.
But I love the lesson as well that you don't have to be good; just be better than the last time.
Yeah.
It's growth mentality, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's that thing of going, like, it's the thing that I try to think about a lot with things like this and D&D and anything creative in general. There are only two ways of failing at anything creative. One is not trying, and two, and this is the terrifying one, is doing it once and never doing it as well ever again. Like, what a sad indictment of your ability to learn if the first time you ever do anything, it's the best you ever are at it. Like, and then getting comfortable with the idea that something that you produce, one, doesn't have to be perfect, and two, even if you think it's perfect, you're going to keep getting better. Like, you're going to think very little of the thing that right now you're proud of, and actually that's really exciting. Like, what an opportunity.
Do you know, I did have a moment, and I don't know if this was Kelnis or Doug, but I was a little bit jealous that some of these people got really good at carving. That's my thing. Suddenly Dolly's like, whoosh.
No, Dolly didn't, I think, and Harry explained it really well. It wasn't that Dolly made a good spoon, it was just,
she's good
it was
with
the
it.
action was just so
She
beautiful.
moved beautifully, and it was a
yeah.
beautiful, it was like amazing technique. But like, this is where I think that these things are relative to the person rolling them, right? Like a broader thing about mechanics. So I would say, like, Endelian's strength modifier is +5, and Dolly's strength modifier is -1. So a nat 20 from Endelian and a nat 20 from Dolly, technically there is a disparity in what those are because it's the strongest you can be in Endelian with a +5 and the strongest you can be
Different.
Dolly. And therefore Dolly's first rolling a 20, whatever it was, 22 on your second ever spoon, it's an incredible spoon for your second ever spoon. Rather than someone hands you a paintbrush and you immediately do the Sistine Chapel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think that it was just interesting that, because I was trying to think in character, and I was thinking, damn, some of these guys got good at this really fast.
Yeah.
But I also had a thought, well, yeah, but I'm teaching them, it's like I'm showing them how to do it, and they're getting
Maybe
good at it.
making
It's cool.
spoons actually isn't that difficult, Doug. maybe, and I say strictly, it's just a fucking spoon.
So the man who spent 3 rolls yelling at it until he got
Trying to get in your head. No, but I think that's you said like you make 32 spoons a night or whatever. Like at the level of quality that's far above us. It's like we can make like 1 spoon okay that one time, but can you do it on a rainy day in Stoke? Like it's that's the vibe of it, and I get it, but I just thought it was a really lovely moment.
Yeah, it was a really nice moment of collective.
Serenity, almost
Yeah.
we're all just like
Yeah.
after that very kind of tense conversation.
Because what was the option? We were just going to bed mad.
Yeah.
And then,
It's a bit sad, really, isn't it?
although that moment was interrupted
Yeah.
by. Does anyone have any idea
But
what
we
that
didn't-
is? But you can speculate on what it. You didn't hear it, but that
No.
moment was interrupted for Dolly. Do any of you have a sense of what that is?
Spider prince, some sort of, or something like another, Morganesque or spinner, someone who's sort of high up, some sort of connection and some sort of order and some sort of thing. And when we left the room, there was some connection made that means that they can constantly talk back and forth.
Oh yeah, because what happened was a message was sent, and then she went, "We're going to Mouse," and so I mean, we don't watch the stuff, by the way.
Yeah,
so
no,
we
and
don't.
when I do the glossary, I do not watch the
We
bits.
don't know these. The audience know more than we do, which is kind of.
I had a big question about whether or not I do that one at the table, and I just thought it kind of breaks but I just thought it was quite fun to just have. Honestly, to put pressure on you guys a little bit to maintain the.
Because we're recording tomorrow, right?
We're recording tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it means that we're not going to know whatever it is that
No, you
said.
can't.
You couldn't
So
just
there's
go,
gonna
that's
be
a
the
good way of doing
genuine
it.
reaction.
So you don't have to wait too long as well.
No, I
Because you're our leader. We trust you.
yeah, and I think even if you hadn't done that bit at the table, the reality is the web will always find a way to get in contact with us if it wants to, and if you're a leader, then in theory it makes sense that. I don't know whether it's carrier pigeon or whether it's you can talk to each other through your mind, but like if they want to talk to you, you will find a way, and we have to accept that. Like the web at any point, like again, because I've been doing the glossary in episode 9 when we were talking about going to Mouse. The big thing was, well, web hasn't given us permission to leave. It hasn't told us to stay, and it hasn't found anything else for us to do. But it's very much that if the web wanted to tell us to do something, whether it's Casper stood outside with a half carved stone, it would find a way to tell you.
R.I.P.
But maybe this is what the web wants us to do.
Then I think if that was it, then we would have been told to do it. Or maybe one of us has been told to do it. I don't know.
The web works in mysterious
It
ways.
Yeah.
So this is also this episode marks our the end of our Kickstarter,
And it feels like we've only just gotten started.
which is crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is
Crazy.
This is it. So by the time this goes out, the Kickstarter only backed us. All the merchandise has gone
Please,
out.
if you haven't,
dies.
go on, support us on Patreon if you don't want it to end there, because we don't want it to end there.
We're now kind of in a sort of more hand to mouth.
Yeah.
It is. It is very much, and I'm not just saying it because please back us, but it is actually hand to mouth. We are not currently self-sustaining.
Yeah.
Not at the time we film this, we are not self-sustaining. There is reserves in the bank for a while, but not.
Little ways to go.
Little ways.
Yeah, we're not quite there yet. So
People can. I mean, hopefully, these 10 episodes. Originally, I mean, there's a place that we'll get to probably by like episode 13, which was kind of where I felt the first 10 eps would end. And invariably, when you DM on a new campaign or for a new group of people, or sometimes just any time, you'd prep more than you thought. This weekend looks to be one of the very, very few weekends where I've prepped the right amount. So that was exactly where I wanted to stop.
Perfect.
And I do not have more than 3 hours for us tomorrow, but I'm excited. I'm really
keep role playing the way that we're doing.
But I'm excited about them. I'm excited about what we have to come.
I'm very nervous about tomorrow. Very nervous. That's why I left early. We were out last night, by the way.
I wasn't. I never am. I always go.
No, you were a very good boy, and actually, I kept threatening everybody that you'd be really disappointed at us if we stayed out and turned up hungover.
I'd be devoed. You've done it. You haven't. Have you ever played really hungover? You did once, didn't you?
Very, very, very.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we were.
There was a
Actually,
last
it's a
night.
great episode.
Yeah.
Actually, we said we were like, that was one of the best episodes we did. It was like
That's
6
the
months.
fear.
And we were. Some of us were clinging on.
Yeah.
Like,
You had your the radiant moment where you go, I am a better dancer, obliterated. I am a better D&D player, really hungover. What a shame.
you know, I didn't want. I knew there'd be a lot of stuff around Endelion because of just where the party is heading,
has
and
to
I was
be,
like,
yeah.
you know what? I just don't need to be dealing with Harry as DM while having wine anxiety hangover the next day. I was like, I don't need
Got the
that
wine
level of
sweats.
nervousness on top of what it already is. So yeah.
And you managed to get out of combat without killing anybody as well.
Yeah, I like it when that happens.
They
Really
weren't-
I
surprised
know
me
you guys
too.
wanted to kill them, but
How much
I
HP
wanted
did
to
he have
slap
left?
He had 15 HP left.
Okay, so I really
So
couldn't have even. With
He was
that.
he was a martial arts adept, which is, I mean, these guys weren't meant to be a deadly encounter. Like, there's a balance.
Yeah, I don't want to be limping into Mouse.
Well, yeah, and also there's a balance between, like, obviously, people are gonna enemies get stronger as you get stronger, so it can just continue to be a challenge. But I don't like the idea that a town guard in the first city you start in is challenge rating 1/8. And then by the time you're level 20, every town guard is challenge rating 15. They're still town guards.
Yeah.
They're still the same people with the same level of training. And so the people that you fought, the Gloam that you fought in the forest were a berserker which is
A
like
ranger,
a berserker, an archer, and a swashbuckler, which I think are like challenge rating 2, challenge rating 3, challenge rating 2. So combined, you know, a 7. It doesn't really work like that. Challenge rating's a bit kind of
Bit
nebulous. But the regular ones who were going to be fighting you with the axes, they're like challenge rating 1/2, and that guy was challenge rating 3, because why would you have the most deadly encounter from some bandits who were extorting one family of orcs out of maybe 10 gold? Like, if they're that powerful, surely they'd be doing something else. And he wasn't going to be as useless until you successfully intimidated him after he tried to intimidate you.
Which was great, by the
Which
way.
was really
So
good. Well, because
satisfying.
also I went to that's just an example of me not having looked at the little cards with their stuff on it, because I was like, he opens his jacket and I was like, he has a weapon, right? And then I was like, no, he has unarmed strikes. So all he has is these little darts that do 1d4 piercing damage. So I was like, shit, all he can do is open up his jacket and essentially look like he's very good at pub sports. But at that point you go, oh, I'll just lean into the fact that this guy's a bit of an idiot and that they're all a little bit useless.
Well, I just rolled, and if I'd gone for the attack, because this is exactly how odds and probability work, rolling it much later, it would have been a 17 with my sneak attack. So he would have been.
He would have been dead.
I kind of wanted him to die. I mean, he is dead now. He doesn't have any clothes in a barren wasteland.
Do you know what I actually thought in that moment? I was like, we maybe have just created something worse. When you put someone who's already going to be that kind of person, you put them in a desperate situation where they're now like, got no clothes, do you end up potentially making
They're going
something
to come
worse?
back later.
No, they need
Right,
fortitude to survive, and they never got
I
that.
think they almost certainly die of exposure.
Yeah, I'm not
really
worried.
hope
I'm
they
bumping
do.
into him again.
I genuinely really hope they do, because I know it's a small thing, but I think it's really callous what they did, and I know that it's not like they haven't killed anyone, but I still think it's an act punishable by
death in a fantasy setting.
death in a fantasy setting.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
in a fantasy
I'm kind of fine
setting.
with it. But I like it because I like playing a chaotic neutral character, because I'm like, I actually don't care. I do care about a lot of things, but I also don't. And I'm like, just die. Literally just die. Like, you threatened us. You threatened us.
I mean, he tried to.
You
It doesn't
attempted
matter.
to threaten.
You try to say, oh, you want to be threatening, do you? Then I will literally kill you. If you want to, because like the idea is like inciting it, and Rady doesn't really have that thing. So it's like, well, I'll shoot some shit at you then, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Fuck around and find out,
Literally
dickhead.
that,
Yeah.
But what had happened if you hadn't rolled the perception you rolled? Because we all of that kicked off because they mouthed the word help at you, and
Kelna sees
feels everything.
Kind of rely on Kelnis.
Kelnis rolls poorly in that moment. It's like, what did they say? I think she said hello.
Kelnis is
She said
essentially
kelp, I think. Which is really weird.
he's the in-world version of Dr. Manhattan from
Yeah.
Watchmen, where he's he knows all futures, all pasts, knows all time. It has no sense anymore.
We saw someone put up a cool thing on the Discord, which was how much above standard array.
That's right, yeah.
So
everyone was-
standard array, for those who
Was it?
aren't
Yeah.
familiar, it was standard array.
Yes, it
right?
was, yeah.
Yeah.
Standard array is a series of scores that you can put into your D&D characters
If you
when
don't wanna roll
if you
for
don't
it.
want to roll. And I think standard array is 15, 13, 12, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10,
11,
something
10,
like that. And so by adding up those numbers, 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8. Sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
So by adding up those numbers, you're given a kind of cumulative score of what standard array is.
29.
And that's essentially like that's what a standard character, that's the amount of points a standard character would have. And people did a comparison of adding up our scores, how much higher or lower they are than standard array. And Dolly, you have 2 fewer than standard array. The rest of you will have, like, I think Indelian has like 2 more.
Plus 3.
Yeah, just plus 3.
So,
You were
which,
like,
I
you were
think a
under
range
5?
a range of plus 5 or minus 5 is normally pretty good and pretty fair, I think.
Doesn't feel it. I mean,
Um,
it's because
I think Dolly's was more than 2 lower than standard. It was like 5 or 6 lower.
I don't think it was.
it was a YouTube comment, by the way.
So, a YouTube comment.
It
I'm
was a
sorry.
YouTube comment.
So 5th place, Dolly was 2 points under. Endelian 3 points over. Radian 5 points over. I would consider them all to be reasonably balanced characters. I is 9 points over.
I'm
Yeah.
surprised at that.
Yeah.
Kellis is 24
That's
points over.
Whoa!
Yeah,
It's
that's almost a
insane.
whole other character.
It is too.
like,
It is almost, so I mean, we'll talk about it, but I wonder whether when we start character progressing Kelnis, that you take some feats rather than take some ability scores.
I'm going to have to because I can't raise.
You can't
some
raise
of
things
them I
above
can't
20.
raise
Yeah.
Feats are fun.
Feats are
anyway.
really
Yeah.
fun. So feats are like optional. Rather than taking the stat increase, you can take a thing which means like you take Sentinel or like Alert, so you can't
Alert
be
is great,
surprised, and you get your +5 to initiative and all
Lucky,
this
you
kind
were
of stuff.
saying.
Lucky, and you get some luck points, and you can re-roll bad rolls, like that kind of stuff. Because otherwise, I think either I'm going to have to stack, and I will stack people to an extent, but like stack people with so much more stuff to try and bring you up to. Because also then when I'm trying to balance an encounter, I essentially have 6 players because we have twice the firepower in Kelvis that we have in like.
The dice do tend to even things out as well.
They
so,
do.
like,
They
it's-
absolutely do.
But this godlike character is being played by an idiot.
Which
So,
which is a massive relief. Because if you were competent, I'd be fucked.
It's like a 15-year-old at the wheel of a Maserati.
So, what do we think we're going to discover? I mean, also, is it fair to ask? You can choose not to answer this. What do people who aren't Indelian think that deal with Indelian? Are people able to answer
I'm
that?
pretty sure I know.
Yeah,
what
I don't want
the
to say
deal
it
is.
in action surge.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you guys feel like you
Kind
have.
of
Yeah.
when we confront her. I think, in my mind, I feel like we know.
Yeah.
We
all
just
do.
don't want to say
Well, she doesn't want to
anything.
say it, and we're not going to push this.
We're not going to
Yeah.
say
I
it.
quite like the idea that we're all going to learn when we go.
Yeah.
I've asked her a few times. All I'm getting from the next episode is tricks and traps, was the thing you said. The penitent man will pass. I'm thinking, all I'm thinking is the ending of the Last Crusade.
Crusade.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
That's all I'm thinking is my favorite films of all time, and I'm going to get to live it out. I will kneel. Anyway, those are references. to Indiana
I'm looking
Jones.
forward to being able to talk about the next session in the next action surge. Like, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. Also,
Because
knowing your mechanics and what you do
Oh
with
my
stuff,
goodness.
I'm so
That's
excited.
very kind of you. I will say the thing that I would say genuinely the worst, or not, the worst at, the thing I find the most difficult and that stretches my brain the most is puzzles, traps, and tricks. I find it's not much, like at my worst, I'm a very self-important storyteller, and at my best, I hope I'm like a sort of collaborative role-play storyteller that allows you to do cool shit. What I'm not good at is going, right, mechanically.
Well, you're doing a very good job of it so far.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, but so I'm...
It's not just me, the internet agrees.
Well, the internet's never been wrong before. So I am just really excited to... I am really excited to have tomorrow's
I'm so excited.
session.
Or next week's session.
Next week's session, of course.
No, next
So
no,
next
2
week's
weeks
session.
session.
2 weeks.
Well, no, because this is action. I mean,
this is action, so
it's
you're
chaos.
right.
The release
This is
schedule is
action, so-
Absolutely.
I think you find it's very well managed.
It's
incredibly well managed.
Yeah.
It's just impossible to keep
You
track
know what?
of.
The release schedule is like avant-garde jazz, where technically all the players know exactly what they're playing, but to the untrained ear, it's like, why is that playing that? And why is it playing that? We are kind of approaching the end of the beginning. That's what the Kickstarter thing feels like to me.
Oh, is it about we're going to get to like the end of this episode 10 and then the title screen's going to come up and now it actually begins.
Just one thing we haven't plugged because we love money. Is it Ko-Fi? Is that what it's called?
Coffee.
Coffee.
Oh yeah, I don't know what that.
So it's kind of like, we just kind of put it up because it felt like something that would help if people wanted to, but essentially it's just if people wanted to donate or tip.
Because it's like we've had some people who
Be
have very
like,
kindly been like, I missed the Kickstarter, would have loved to have.
And if you didn't want to
Yeah.
do like a rolling thing of month to month like Patreon is, and if you wanted to even maybe go
If you just enjoyed the episode and you just want to go, you know what, that was really fun. I'd like to give them $10 extra.
Like you might do to a panpipe busker who's been
Yes.
playing for 6 hours.
Exactly.
You mean Paul the Bard?
Yeah, Paul the Bard. That is the worst name I've reached for in this entire thing.
Yeah.
Although I quite like that he was, because in my head he wasn't great. And I mean, he was
After
good.
6 hours, you
It was
wouldn't be.
serviceable. I mean, it's difficult music, but okay. It's not that Paul isn't technically proficient. It's that Paul
was playing for a load of drunk people.
Well, Paul's playing for Paul. Do you know what I mean? After a certain point.
Yeah, I mean, it's just me in there at one point.
I do like to think that he kind of picked up on Calnus's vibe, though, and was like, at least at the beginning, I mean, after he
Oh, the
got
Dragonborn
tired,
loved it until everyone started throwing up all over the floor.
Not everyone.
One person.
Yeah, not everyone lumped us in with him.
Did we now to remind me of, because I know that there are a few points where I asked everybody to leave the room.
Mm-hmm.
Who you didn't leave the room?
No,
when
not
you-
for the no.
Right.
Everyone was there for that.
for you having a go on
Just having
a little touch of the
look.
deck.
Yeah.
Say that.
He was unconscious.
He touched his deck while he was unconscious.
Wow.
He knew.
Radiant opens one eye, smiles. But that was like fun. That was a kind of nice. I feel like we are deck adjacent. Like the deck is obviously a thing that exists in the world and that we're going to at some point is going to play an active part in the story. And I really like that we are kind of. I was going to say
Edging it. Yeah, we're edging the deck.
edging around the deck.
We're edging our deck.
Basically, guys, if you take anything from this, we're edging the deck. But yeah, it is very exciting to me that there's this kind of sword of Damocles hanging over everything all the time of what is this thing and how does it work and when's it going to work?
Yeah, because I mean, for me, like, because it was just suddenly there, and it was like, Dolly fucking hates that thing, quite honestly, like, because it's, you know, it's spooky and terrible, and there's just a bad energy about it. But I feel like in that moment, just a little bit drunk, being like, what is this thing? Like there was an arrogance that she was like, you know, these maybe I can figure something out here.
Yeah.
It's so interesting, isn't it, that the way different people approach different things, because as soon as you did that, I just went, fuck, I never even thought, just talk to it. It's voices. And kind of go like, you could just maybe address it.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
What a cool idea.
Yeah, great
What a
idea.
cool idea, which is why,
wouldn't you say something?
and sure it'll be kept in the episode. There's a brilliant clip of Oxventure where Johnny Chiodini is asked if they have any more information as an NPC,
Yes,
and they
no.
and they look into the air for a while and go, give me a minute. No, and it made me laugh so much because they're such a brilliant DM, and it's this complete moment of like the modem. I think they use a modem dial-up noise, and I had the same thing of you going. I say, "What are you?" And I was like. I know, that's so cool, and like that's such a cool and interesting question, and what a great way to approach it. And I have absolutely no idea how that should work. So it was a really fun It's a really fun thing.
Time for talking to your deck.
Talking, whispering to your deck.
How are you?
Hey, are you friend or foe?
Can we talk about more Dolly moments though?
Yes.
We met a buddy on the road.
Oh,
Yeah.
We got like that for Dolly as well. Like it's really clear that Dolly is. We've had always tiny glimpses of little Dolly backstory. This has kind of been the longest we've all been in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where
Gnomes.
Gnomes, consorts.
Well, that's a huge moment as well.
Oh, yeah,
You
yeah,
we
finally
got
know
I's
why I doesn't
backstory.
like gnomes.
It's really
Yes.
difficult because I obviously know all of your backstories, and I forget that things are landing at the table for the first time, and I'm like, and I thought, so let's deal with the Dolly gnome, and then we'll talk about I's backstory. But I was really relieved that you called down the cart, because obviously it's that thing that you recognise as a player who DMs. It's like, he's built something, and there's a bit of you as a player that's like, I don't want to engage with it because I don't want to be a secret. But then also they've built it, and it was that thing.
It was. I was kind of like
He
trying to figure it out. I was like, is this the?
Yeah, and he absolutely could have passed by. I mean, he told you. I can't really tell you what he
did tell me.
He told you some stuff.
Told me
He told you some stuff that Dolly would understand to be, I think, not what you would have expected to hear, and that was significant.
Yes, I think that was quite a big that would be on her mind.
Yeah, particularly now, probably.
Yeah.
But
It's like meeting John Wick, but he's got a family. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
I don't know any of the wider context for any of this, but I can.
Jonathan, you're out.
Yes.
yes, I'm out now.
I'm out.
But that was really nice. I'm out. I'm not there. It was really nice to. It was really nice to, as you say, have those little. We assume
Sorry.
it's Milton. It was you.
No, nice boy.
Good boy. Nice boy.
Nice boy,
Nice
Milton.
boy, Milton. Because we have some completely open books. Like I has always been completely open, but he's never had. No one's ever
one's
asked
really
him.
asked.
Yeah.
I feel like I is a sort of person who, if you asked him anything, he'd go, "Well, I'll tell you if it doesn't actively hurt me to tell you."
Probably
but,
the only person at
but
the
no
table that
one's
doesn't have a
asked.
secret.
Kel has volunteered information that his family were not dragonborn, that he hasn't seen them in a long time. The web killed his family. That's what you've told them. Radiant ain't got a clue, or has no memory. And so Dolian and Delian have been our least open, but the people who it's felt at the very beginning are actively withholding stuff. And that's been put under more and more and more pressure in the last sort of 4 or 5 episodes.
It's funny how it's kind of all happening at the same time as well. Interesting.
Some would say terrible pacing from the DM.
No.
Others would say,
great pacing.
God, it's complex.
Yeah.
But it's kind of it's happening somewhat organically. I mean, I know it's
More than
it's all-
somewhat, fantastically organically.
By design.
Designed organically. But yeah, I hope so. And then we got this thing about I and the tribe.
Yeah,
so
because
sad.
it's interesting because you kind of got a sense of the gnome thing there, but there's a reason that he was out trying to track a gnome, and it's because I'm not really giving anything away.
No,
but it's
no.
like there is an existing harmony.
There's an existing racial tension
between gnomes and kobolds. So and then obviously if he's out trying to track this gnome which has been spotted nearby, and then he comes back and finds everyone's missing, that's only going to make things worse. If he's like, is it the fucking gnomes? Was this all because of that gnome? Was this all a trap? And it was what's
It's not a full circle moment, but it was one of the first episodes, and I think someone says there's a reason why they left you. I can't believe they left.
Oh,
you.
Spinner said it in session 0.
Yeah.
He said, I wondered why they left you against their nature.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd understand, but now, having met you, I'm more confused than ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
I thought it was
Great
really
line.
nice. It was just a really lovely kind of callback to that, getting more clarity on something that we knew from even before this was even funded on Kickstarter.
Yeah. When we were just 6 idiots with a dream.
Yeah.
Hey! With no understanding of the logistical nightmare it would be to try and organise 6 idiots.
We were saying just
5
before.
idiots.
Yeah.
We were saying we just jumped full feet first into let's go high production.
We've gone endgame.
From the outset.
We've gone kind of like...
Oh yeah, we could have done this from home over Twitch with just like our setups and like whatever.
But
We
then
were
how
like,
do you ask people to... I mean, no shade on anyone who is asking people to fund that, but like, you know, on Kickstarter, it's like, if we're not going to offer you something really special, we didn't feel quite right about saying, could you help us facilitate
Can I
that?
go get something from outside? Is that all right?
oh yeah,
we
yeah,
get a
yeah,
thing?
yeah, go get the
Oh,
thing.
yeah, absolutely. And then we should...
Oh, yes.
And then we should Rollington Pollington.
Yeah. Happy birthday to us.
But yeah.
Happy birthday to us. Happy birthday, dear
Natural
us.
six. First name natural, last name.
Happy birthday to us.
It's a cake, and it says...
Good for
For
the
the web.
Good for the web, and it's an... Because this is a year since we first got together in a
yeah.
pub.
It's a year since we were in the pub and we were like, Harry turned up with these like folded up pieces of paper and we were like, this stuff is too good, like this has to be a thing that we do.
Drank way too much rosé.
And then
Doug wasn't
obviously-
there.
Doug force ghosted in.
Yeah, we did. We forced ghosted.
If like
Yeah.
to put it like there were 5 bottles of rosé, 5 of us, but only 4 of us were drinking. Like that's where we were at emotionally.
Yeah.
And obviously this is the end of Kickstarter as
It was
well.
our orange
Yeah,
tree,
it's-
you know?
it's-
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Magical,
And it-
yeah.
it's-
To be
it's
fair,
end
we
of-
said it'd be a nice, potentially, if we can actually, have the time to do it, organise a little community meetup there one time.
It'd be nice.
Yeah, it would be
Yeah,
really
we
cool.
will.
The origins, we won't
Do it
tell
in
you
the pub.
where it
No,
is that
we
we
won't
went,
tell you yet.
but like it's an origin place, so like, it'd be a fun thing to do there.
We got history now.
We've got history,
We
we've got
managed to do
law.
an entire year. Like from then, did you know that we'd be like speaking to each other every day?
Second of the day.
I hoped it.
And it-
I hoped it. Within about 10
And it
minutes
is
of
me
meeting
being
everybody,
like-
I was like, this is good.
This is going live at 4. Hi, can you please approve the copy? Assets here for approval. And then now and again, someone, Doug will put a fart joke in chat.
They're not
Love a
fart
good
jokes,
fart
though,
joke.
are they? They are specifically metal balls
Fart noises.
traveling through liquids.
It was I went down the hole. I went down the hole with that. That was really exciting.
Yeah.
They was putting metal balls on jelly and they sounded like fart noises.
I like the way it came in with the second ball that went in, and Doug put watch till the end.
Yeah.
So it's very
We just
clear.
open it up, see
Don't
what it
leave
was, and
after
go
the
off and
ball.
on again.
Yeah.
There is a second ball.
Roly poly, you idiots.
Yeah.
So, which I now do my traditional, this is my favourite bit of the episode. And to be honest, my favourite bit of the episode was the very last moment of the episode.
Oh, what?
Which is also essentially the beginning of Action Surge. Because it just felt
So cruel.
so unkind to everyone. It was just exciting to be able to change it up in different ways. I also loved all the stuff with
when it's like that.
with Ian Kelnis in the Council of Equals.
Yes, I
Chamber of
love
Chaos.
that.
The Chamber
The Chamber of Chaos has been opened.
and actually just hearing the backstories come out. I always get excited when backstories come out. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And we've done 10 episodes. We've done 10 episodes. I mean, there's probably, it's, I don't know how much it would be, 35 hours nearly out there of us kind of in this world. And that's more than I ever did in the longest running TV shows I was ever part of. This is other than some games where we've got some big chunks for the actors among us. This is probably our most significant hour by hour work today.
This is
Probably the least well paid.
Almost certainly.
It's not just work, it's kind of become a lifestyle because it's just like the amount of time we talk to each other, the amount of like just life admin that we have to do around everything. This isn't just like turn up to work and do it. Like this has become a huge part of our lives, really.
Yeah.
Massively. The biggest thing in my life. It's one of the biggest things in my life.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, trying to start a new job at the same time was one of the dumbest things I've ever done. I probably shouldn't have quit my last job.
Yeah. Where do you work at now, Holly? Would I talk about it?
Yeah, I guess. No, I'm the Western director of PR at Square Enix. On Final Fantasy 14 specifically.
Can't be bad.
Which is why the people in Discord have probably noticed I'm not around as much. It's
you
because
have
I now work during the day.
big old chunk of work.
Final Fantasy, what's that?
It's an MMORPG that is with a free trial now, including all the way up to Stormblood.
All the way up to Stormblood.
Don't now.
Critically acclaimed MMORPG.
PG.
We're not sponsored.
Not
but we
sponsored,
really should
absolutely.
be.
I take that back.
Yeah.
Oh, all the way up to Stormblood.
Yeah. We'll get on that.
Let me put my
It's alright, you'll be doing the TTRPG on a one shot before you know it.
Right, what did you get, Aoife Wilson?
47.
Whoa.
Shit.
Fortunes of change.
Shit.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The dead gods giveth, the dead
Alex
gods
Jordan?
taketh.
Off the back of my
Jordan Alexander.
off the back of my very high score last week. 131.
Oh,
I think that's 2 weeks in a row, or 2 sessions in a row, or I've rolled
Obviously, loud numbers.
the 100. I think on the.
Wow.
or I
Douglas
did-
Doug Cockle?
Yeah.
I had a 24 last time. I've recovered that. Not quite as far as I would like, but I got a 95.
Oh, decent. As
that's
soon as we
pretty
get
good.
towards 3 figures, we're into
Yeah.
serious beef.
I got 95.
Wow.
We're roly poly
Benjamin
I'm
Starr.
making an absolute. I'm making a real consistent swing at mediocrity. 55.
55. I think 55 is quite bad.
Join me down here.
I think that's good.
I'm looking down at
Take me
you.
with the
Right, well, with that, we should say goodbye. We should thank you all for being here, and in fact, that's what we will do. Goodbye, and
Yeah.
thank you all for being
Thank
here.
you.
And thank you to those of you, I mean, thank you to everyone who's here, but thank you to those of you who supported us on Kickstarter
Yeah.
and who made this part of our journey possible.
Yeah.
And now that journey will continue for as long as you guys want it to. So thank you for your support, and we love doing this. We would love to do it forever.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
So thank you. We will see you all very soon for more adventures in the world of Reliquia. Bye, everybody. D&D, baby!